To the extent that sometimes it makes me feel like giving up and not like dying and not coming back to the world.
Sickle cell disease is a group of inherited red blood cell disorders. Research has proven that many marriages end up on rock, pain, and rejection due to sickle cell disease. Thus, at least half of children given birth to by couples with abdominal hemoglobin end up being sickle, which ends the joy in the marriage. Again, most people with sickle cell disease lack confidence in themselves. Michael has been suffering from sickle cell disease for the past 9 years.
I'm fine.
How do you feel sometimes?
Sometimes I feel pains in my joints. Sometimes to my knee. And sometimes to it affects here and here. So I can't walk. So sometimes my father helped me in walking or using stick to walk.
What about your eye? Why are you putting on spectacles?
Because I got a ball swollen here. It was 3. Then the 2 blast. Then it came 1. So the 1, it has to pass through my nose, mouth or ear. Then it passed through my eye.
Who does spectacles? Are you able to study?
Yeah, sometimes.
Are you able to see on the board when they are writing?
I can only see with one side.
You can only see which is the right one.
Which is the right one.
Oh, okay. Is the spectacle treated one?
No, it's a sunshade.
Was it given to you by a doctor?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
To protect the eye.
At which hospital?
Qualable Teaching Hospital.
The doctor prescribed this one?
Yes.
Just take a walk. Go to the side. Put on the spectacle back on. Put on the spectacle.
Okay, the whole thing started 2014. We were sleeping when he started to complain, my head. So the following morning, I saw that the 2 eyes had popped down here. And there was a swelling in his head, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, a ball on his head. So what I did was that I started to put medicine on it so that it will burst. So for about some few days, these 2 vanished. And vanished from here. And the eye also popped inside back. So it remained another 2 for here.
That's one of the eye.
This eye pushed back.
Okay.
The 2 all come out here. Okay. But as I've tried to put the medicine on the boy, these 2 boys vanish and the eyes also go back. So remain 2 boys here. So I continue to put that medicine. So I thought that it will burst from here. But for some few days, the thing busted, but it busted through the eye. Instead of the nose or the mouth,
the left eye.
The left eye. So the thing became so serious. So what I decided to do is send him to Kolebu. Okay. Because now it has burst down, it remains the eyes have to solve the problem. So I went to Kolebu on Saturday. So when we went there to emergency hall, they said no, they will admit him. So okay, I agree so that. But then the mother had bring forth 2 weeks when this incident happened, so he could not go there, which means I went with myself. I stayed there for 3 months. So after the 3 months, I will stay there for 3 months, and I did a number of tests. Small time, go to lab. Small time.
So what were the doctors saying?
Before, the doctors were not agree with me that is the boy that bursted from the eye, because they thought that you have to burst from the mouth or the ears or the nose. When I saw it's my son, I cannot tell lies. And then as time goes on, the journalists who to visit us, interview him. I would sit down from 7 o'clock to 1 p.m. before I get up. So I was with him. I do a number of tests, blood tests, and I did a CT scan, but that to find out what is the problem. So they thought that if they found out that it's cancer, it means they have to remove the eye from there. If not, it will affect the other eye. So God so good. When I brought the report, they said it's not a cancer, but it's an infection. Let's call that, because he was starting to cry. We saw a lot of children whose eyes had been removed. I have the pictures here. I will show you later. So on the last lab test, I did his test, and the last one I did, that was the 7th test I made. Then when I brought the report, the doctor told me that, "Do I know that my son is a sickle cell?" I said, "No, I don't know, because none of my children are having that problem, and none of my family or they having." And he said, "If I'm AS, the mother is AS, one of the children will pick SS from here to get out." So that was the situation. I get to know that it's an sickle cell. So we were there in a 3 months time. Before then, they start giving him that folic acid, vitamin C, and zinc, as I told you.
So how is his condition now?
Oh, he's okay. He's okay than before. Because before we get to know that there are a lot of pains that he's been going through. I know. Sometimes he could not sleep. Honestly, he have to sleep on my chest. See, I can't do anything. But after this collabo, sometimes he feels the symptoms, but not like it. Sometimes he will complain my nail or my hand. That's how the complaints he's giving me now. So
does it affect his education?
Well, I will say so, because sometimes a time for him to go to school, he will say, "I'm feeling pains." Sometimes he misses some of exams sometimes because of these pains. So that is why I get to know that my son is in that condition.
Health professionals has a lot to say about it. Dr. Believe Seriam Agbo is a medical doctor at Zoe Royal Hospital.
When we talk about sickle cell disease, it's a group of diseases, and it's an inherited condition where one will inherit an abnormal hemoglobin, of which one is an S. So when we talk about hemoglobin, someone will ask, where can we find it? Where is it? And with hemoglobin, we find it in our red blood cells. And with the red blood cells, we have a protein called hemoglobin, and that carries oxygen throughout our whole body. So we have a normal form, which is very, very normal, which is hemoglobin A. So you have abnormal forms of that hemoglobin. So usually, for one to be classified as having the sickle cell disease, that person should have an abnormal hemoglobin, of which one is an S. So we can have different types of that. We can have hemoglobin SS. We can have hemoglobin SC. We can have hemoglobin S beta thalassemia. These are the very common ones of sickle cell disease. And if you look at how the red blood cells are, naturally they span about 70 to 120 days before they die off in the body. But if someone has sickle cell disease, the shape of their red blood cells becomes usually like a C or a farm tool that we call sickle. So usually the lifespan of that red blood cell doesn't take that long. Usually it lasts for about 10 to 20 days, which can result in a lot of complications and a lot of problems with them having shortage in their red blood cells. And also, we could also say that someone has a sickle cell trait. In that regard, I made mention that we have the normal hemoglobin is called hemoglobin A. So with the very first one, if a person has a sickle cell trait, that means that the person has a normal form of hemoglobin and an abnormal form of hemoglobin. So the person may possess a hemoglobin A and an S. So that person, we don't call that person as having a sickle cell disease, but we say the person have a sickle cell trait, which is quite common. And these people, they usually do not have any forms of problems associated with that as compared to the sickle cell disease group. And one may ask, how will this cause about, or how does this come about? This, as I said earlier on, is an inherited condition. It's a genetic condition. So we inherit these conditions from our parents. So in either ways, you can inherit an abnormal one from one parent and another abnormal from another parent. So if both parents are having one abnormal hemoglobin, then the individual might end up having sickle cell disease.
So the abnormal that you are talking about, is it the X or just emphasize on it?
Okay, so with the abnormal one, it usually has to do with the arrangement. We call something amino acids. It comes with the arrangement of how the hemoglobin is arranged. But usually it's just a replacement or misplacement of some amino acids there. So usually it's kind of like that.
This is the CTC camera. I took out the Kolebu to see what the program is, because as I said, they thought that it's a cancer. So with this report, we show that whether it's a cancer or it's not a cancer. So if it's cancer, we're going to remove one of the eyes so that it will not affect the other one. But God's so good, when the report came, they saw that it's not cancer, but rather it's an infection because of the boy that makes him to have that infection. So now he lost one side. He cannot see with the one side. This is what the doctors told me, that I should be careful and protect him because now he lost one side. So I'm always on him to protect him. So if any help comes, I will appreciate it.
According to doctors, sickle cell disease has a lot of symptoms.
In our country where we are very prone to malaria and things like that, it usually happens. And also we can also say that with the symptoms, they usually have symptoms that has to do more with the blood. I said earlier on that with the normal red blood cells, the span or their lifespan is from 70 to about 140 days, which is averagely 120 days. So they can be in the blood for 120 days. But with a sickle cell disease, their red blood cell can only survive from 10 to 20 days. So around that time, imagine the red blood cells are supposed to be carrying oxygen in and around through the body. But with someone with sickle cell disease, the red blood cells tend to last for 10 to 20 days. Then every now and then the person will be having a low amount of red blood cells, causing all of these. So they usually have crisis with blood level. So we call something sickle cell anemia. That means that their HB levels or their blood levels are always below the normal range. They are always below the normal range. So you might see that such a person, the person looks very pale. With a little thing that they do, they are easily tired. Some of them, you see that their eyes is very, very, very yellowish, or you can say that they have jaundice. And also, they have problems with bone pain. Usually, when the weather is very, very, very cold, they tend to have bone pains and all of that. Some of them, they experience a lot of abdominal pains around the splenic region or around the left side. Or the flank. They usually have a lot of pains in that regard. So basically their symptoms are much related to the span of the red blood cells. So some with a little thing, sometimes difficulty in breathing, sometimes they cannot sustain something, that do a lot of strenuous exercises and all of that.
Priscilla is not different from the number of people suffering from sickle cell disease. Her situation has become more serious that the only way she can live long life is after a successful bone marrow transplant surgery. Until the surgery, she is now depending on a drug containing tramadol, which has been prescribed by her doctor.
Pain is very severe to the extent that sometimes it makes me feel like giving up and not like dying and not coming back to the world. But yes, the pains are very severe. It affects, sickle cell crisis affects every part of the body. It can even sometimes affect your tummy. Actually, I don't allow myself to go through pain and go to school. Because sometimes I feel like if I go to school and people see me in that condition, it's either I'll be mocked at, or people, because I've gone through it in JHS, so I know. People most of the times mock me. Some too get scared that if they come close to me, they'll get affected with such disease. Yes, but still some people don't really understand the illness. So they think it's something that it can transfer from one human being to another. My opinion is I'm not ready, but if only to make me free. Yes, because of the way I walk, people laugh at me. So yes, I'm ready.
Are you not scared?
Everyone gets scared on their first day, or the moment they inform them that they are going to perform surgery on them. But what do I have to do, because it will save me? So yeah. Sometimes even when you are not facing crisis, the system gets weak to the extent that you can't go to school. You feel so tired whilst you've not done anything. Yeah. But naturally you are tired. That's how it is. The first night. Yes.
Is that why you are always wearing?
Yes, you have to sometimes wear.
So they say you should always wear.
It's not always. When the weather is too hot, that one you are free to wear anything you want. But when the weather is kind of cold, it doesn't allow you to wear anything that you want. Yes. You always have to be in trousers and sweaters. Otherwise, if the air gets through your body like that,
What do you tell your colleagues who are also in this, who are also sickle cell patients?
yeah, they shouldn't give up. I got to a time where I gave up. That I felt I was the only person who was having sickle cell in this world. So I was always challenging God, telling God that you come and pick me. And that amongst all the human beings on this earth, I was the only one who created the sickle cell. But so they shouldn't give up. They should keep fighting. Yes, even though it's tough.
Priscilla has been battling with sickle cell disease for the past 19 years.
Priscilla, popularly known as we call her Mabna, has been suffering from this sickle cell from her childhood. So we actually discovered, I was told by the dad that this has been the problem, and since he was born, I think we saw it when she started growing and walking. Even though when she was a baby, it comes on and off. She goes for admission, stay there for about a week or more, and kind of those problems. But since she was growing up, we have really seen the challenges has become very, very difficult, and she goes through a lot of pain. There's so much pain. There's so much pain that when the crisis comes, it's unbearable. You actually feel for her. You cry. Sometimes I cry myself. Sometimes the pain she goes through is unbearable, and it happens that all her joints, you feel the pain. Her joints, almost every part is paining her, which today you can even see it in her walking. It has affected the hip so much that recently we went to hospital, and the doctor is encouraging that we do surgery on her for that particular problem, because it's actually eating the hip bone. Yes, so the doctor is requesting that we do a surgery, and according to the doctor, we should even do it now, any moment from now. Looking at conditions, financial situations here and there, also she's also in school, and looking at the education we are about to write, if she goes on admission, because this sickle cell has affected her so much that she can sometimes go to school. She will be at school for about 2 weeks, and she has to stay at home for about 2 weeks in a whole month. Yes, going through pain, crying with pain, tears all over, and she has been drinking painkillers a lot, because when it comes like that, she has to there's nothing to do but to give her the painkillers, which recently a doctor has even prescribed a painkiller that has tramol in it, yes, just to help her to reduce this. So in academics, the mates always go ahead of her, because you stay in the house for about 2 weeks, sometimes even a month. Recently she was admitted at Legon hospital, and she was there for 2 weeks. The pain was too much. It was at a point, in fact, we almost gave up, because we thought she is going. When she attained 16, that was the kind of pain we have ever experienced. My wife, who just passed, all of us were crying, even to a point the doctor called me to ask 1 or 2 questions, which we all knew that where she has gotten to, because something that we have not really experienced started now surfacing out. Shivering, she will be shivering, and the hands, the body, the thighs, everywhere is shaking, and the breathing too is not coming, it's not regular. So this has been the challenge that we know and we have been through.
To help perform the surgery, Priscilla is calling on anyone who is capable of helping across the world to come to her aid. You can keep in touch with us through the comment section or send us email.
If there is somebody out there who wish to help, and basically we will ask that, like the the hip surgery that we are waiting for now, there is no money, so we are believing God for money, and then we'll be able to sort that issue. So if there is any help, that area will be of a great help. And also the medicines, the medications, yes, if we get the medications, it will help her to be able to at least sustain her for some time.
Doctors are saying that sickle cell disease is capable of affecting most essential parts of the body.
There are a lot of complications that has to do with sickle cell, and one organ that it usually affects is the spleen. Yeah, one organ that usually affects is when we call it splenic sequestration. It's when I said that the cells are round in shape, but usually in sickle cell they begin to form S, or they are in a C form. So as they are like that, they can't easily flow. So depending on the organ, or depending on the part where that blockage is formed, they begin to experience that pain. So usually there are people that if it is with their eye, if there's any blockage to their eye, they experience a lot of problems with that. If it is to the brain, it can even result in stroke, because around that time enough oxygen cannot get to the brain, so that person can end up having stroke. Some can have eye loss, some can have kidney damage, liver damage, a whole lot of things, including the hips, the bones, the joints, everywhere it can be in that regard. And some also they've lost their life as a result of sickle cell disease too.
What is the hope for people living with sickle cell disease? Can they also live a long, healthy and happy life like any other individual?
With the sickle cell disease, you can live a very, 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 very normal life, provided you are doing whatever you are supposed to do, which includes, one, you should make sure that you are always hydrated. You take in lots of water. At least you take about 8 to 10 glasses of water a day, so that it helps with the circulation, because the little thing that you do will trigger the formation of that sickling. So you make sure you stay hydrated, you eat very well, you take in lots of vegetables, you take in lots of fruits, you minimize your exercising, you do moderate exercise, a little breaks walking is okay. You try as much as possible to take folic acid regularly. If you have sickle cell disease, you are supposed to be regularly checked at any health facility. You shouldn't wait that, oh, okay, I have sickle cell, that's all. You are supposed to be regularly checked at any health facility. And also, you try as much as possible that during the cold seasons, you have to stay warm. And you prevent yourself from malaria. If you know you live in endemic areas and you have sickle cell disease, you try as much as possible. If it is treated bed net, you have them. If it is mosquito repellent, you try to use, and all of that. And basically, you can live a normal life, have your children grow old and all of that.
Research reveals that many people are ignorant about their genotype, especially in Africa, hence do not consider that before getting married. This has led to the pain many innocent children with sickle cell disease go through. I decided to draw the public attention on it.
Very, very, very necessary. Very, very necessary, because you don't want to bring a child into this world that every now and then the child is suffering, and as a mother or as a father, you can't actually help your child out. So whenever you want to get married, or even as you are an individual, you are single, you are now searching, you don't even have a husband, or you don't even have a spouse yet, you need to know your status. You need to walk to any laboratory to just know, okay, I want to check my genotype. So if you know you are AS, then you should consider who you would marry. If you know you are AA, then you are good to go. You can marry anyone, and at the end of the day, any child that you bring out will not have any problem with the sickle cell disease. So it's very, 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 very important that as you are getting married, you should test for your genotype or for your sickling status.
I will give is that, you see, in marriage is a long journey affair. It's not just for fun. We don't enter into marriage because of lust or sex. So my advice is that anybody who wants to marry, it is very important to check your blood, your genotypes, must know your genes and be able to know the cell, the sickle cell, or your genotypes. You should add AS. If the man is AS and the woman is AS, my advice is they should be stopped from proceeding. No, don't marry, because you will give birth to an innocent child who did not send you. You are only opening a door for this child to come and suffer in this world. Their life is full of suffering, pain, trouble. You, the mother and the father, will be somewhere. I even wish that the government should come in, if possible, see to it that anybody who wants to enter into marriage, doctors will look into these genotypes, and if it's negative or AS or that kind of, they should not allow them. If they still want to marry, they should, if they have to even arrest them, they should arrest them, because it's a serious issue. Yes, it's not easy. It's not easy when you see them going through the pain, the suffering. It's unbearable. It's unbearable. So that's what I can say on that.
Advice I made them more say they should stop that, and maybe before they get to marry, they should go and check the blood group and know what to do.
Advice is that before you marry your partner, you have to go to the hospital to check if both of you are AS. I don't encourage you to marry.
Please subscribe to the channel for more documentary. As you think of relationship and marriage, please pass by any medical lab to check your genotype to make the right choice. My name is Ayesu Isaac, a broadcast journalist based in Accra, Ghana.